What's going on, YouTubers? Welcome to another video. So today I want to talk about some of the worst statues in my collection. Now, as far as I'm concerned, pretty much every collector will buy a statue that's more or less not like, they don't love it, they just think it's okay or they kind of like it. And they buy it simply to complete a line, or the entirety of the display looks better with it there. But as an individual piece, life might be getting attacked by Gizmo. You know, the piece isn't truly impressive. Like, I would never buy that piece without the companion piece. No, for example, like, I would never have bought that Vampirella if I never had Red Sonja. Yeah, wife was getting bit by Gizmo. Alright, yeah, so let's get to it. Some of the worst pieces in my collection. A lot of these I will say I did buy for those particular reasons. It helps complete a display. It, you know, and here's the thing, I'm not going to be listing, you know, something like this, which might be one of the worst statues in my collection, for example. I'm not going to be listing 1/10 or 1/6 scales. That, and 1/6 I'll include like the Raptor, but I'm not going to include like the Avengers, for example. We're not going to include any of those. We're including the truly high-end pieces of my statue collection. You know, so I would say one of the worst, Groot 1/4. Now, this actually has a pretty good sculpt and a decent paint app, but it is way too underscaled. If you watch Guardians of the Galaxy, Groot looks like he's like 9 feet tall, and he's barely bent over, and he's shorter than every other statue I pretty much own outside of like Spider-Man. He is way too small for 1/4 scale. They're supposed to be using 3D scans. Like, I do actually like the pose, and the like detail's pretty decent. Like, it's pretty good. Rocket could be a slightly better, but it's the size, and the base is absolute garbage. A glass base is so bad. That's why I cut that paper out to make it look better, like he's on a road. And then I threw like a gun. I did the best I could, because the standard base I absolutely hated. And I do think, in general, the paint app could be a little bit, you know, it's a little blandish, I will say. But I would put Groot as one of the worst statues. You know, like, I still like it, and it still fits my theme, but it's one of my, you know, it's like my least favorite in my entire MCU collection, for sure. So that's definitely up there. And I think I'm just going to choose a few statues from each room. You know. Let me look at else. I mean, here's the thing. I have sold a lot of statues over the years simply because I don't like them. So most of my statues are freaking darn good. So it's hard to choose ones I simply don't like. But if I was to choose other statues in this room that just aren't up to par, but they still fit the theme. I mean, the Black Widow bust, it's 3D printed. There's no silicone hands. It's inaccurate. There's dimples all over the face. The eyes are cheap. You know, it's very cheaply made. So I would definitely put that on the list. It's not even close to as detailed as my other, you know, Queen stuff. So I would put her on the list. I love that Wolverine. I think the likeness and paint app is great, but it's too simple. The base is like, eh. You know, like when you compare to all those other bases, those are far superior. And I don't mind him holding the sword, but for me, a Wolverine statue, I prefer just the double clawed look. You know, and I mean, this is like the movie poster look from the movie The Wolverine. And I do love that movie. The base is to represent the scene at the very beginning when he was, you know, in, where was it, Okinawa or wherever the bomb went off. Or Hiroshima, maybe. But I just wish this was more elaborate like all the other statues. You know, so I would say that. I do like that Sideshow Loki, but the detail in the face could definitely be a lot better. You know. I do like this Iron Man quite a bit, but it's a dull paint app and it's underscaled. And, you know me, I like my underbases. That's lacking. Here in the main theater room, you know, a lot of my best pieces are in this room, so it's quite difficult to choose the statues I like the least, but I would say HCG Face Tugger. Paint app is garbage fuck. Prime 1 Fugitive Predator unmasked. I don't like the unmasked head. I think the decals look bad and it should have been hand painted. I don't like the decal eyes. But everything else I like quite a bit on that bust. I just don't like the unmasked head up close. From a distance, it's fine, but up close, it really lacks on detail. Like, you know, like that 1/4 Infinity Berserker is way better paint up than the bust, which is sad. You know, so definitely, like, especially on this wall, I would put those as the weaker pieces. On this wall, the only thing that I would say is weak is, I guess, you know, Vampirella could definitely be better. I mean, I still like her quite a bit, but she's not as good as Red Sonja or my other pieces on this wall. She's still really good, but she's not as good. So, you know, if I was to put something here, I guess, you know, that Medusa. I do like that Medusa quite a bit, but, you know, if I had to pick my least favorite, maybe that. You know, I love everything else on this wall. It's all absolute top-notch. And I still love that Medusa quite a bit. Honestly, I can't complain about pretty much any of these Jurassic pieces outside of this. I wish this had a better paint app and glass eyes. I think Chronicle really fucked up by doing just yellow with a black dot for the eye. Like, really? You should have did acrylic teeth, glass eyes, way better paint app. You know, and I've seen repaints that look great with glass eyes, and I will do that. But the person who did it, when I asked him if he could do it for me, he said, I can't do glass eyes. I'm like, but you did it already. And then he's like, nope, can't do it. I'm like, all right. Plus he wanted like $900 to repaint it, and that bus cost me $750. In this room, in terms of least favorite, I mean, Gandalf, Morgul Lord, obviously, like the older Sideshow ones. I still love the orcs quite a bit, you know, but I still like that Golem quite a bit. It's a shame it, you know, it's damaged, but, you know, I'm selling it. But Gandalf definitely could be much better. If I had to pick my least favorite Transformer, oh, goodness. They're all so good. But I mean, maybe like Drift or freaking Jazz, just because they're smaller. It's so hard because they're so good. You know, this room has just a lot of killer pieces. For the DBZ video game room, you know, like if we're looking at this wall, I mean, Princess Zelda and Ganon are very simple pieces. I think the paint and sculpt is good for what it's wanting to achieve. It's very simple, but it works for the line. Link is definitely the most impressive. I still like that Ganon Zelda, but I would say they're the weakest pieces on this wall. You know, MK, the weakest pieces would have to be Liu Kang and Raiden, simply due to the nature of the characters. You know, if we're picking the weakest 1/3, I don't know, maybe Katana. They're all so good, though. That's the thing. They're all so good. Dragon Ball Z. I've sold off all the bad DBZ, so I don't really own truly like bad ones. But if I had to pick, I would say Katie Boo. Katie Frieza due to it being pink. Transcendent Androids. I mean, I do like it quite a bit, but you can definitely tell like KD Android's sculpt is far superior and paint up. But that one just doesn't fit my theme. Plus, I don't think it will fit in the collection in general. I do like KD Androids quite a bit, though, but I did cancel that. I just feel like this fits the overall theme. Instead of having the future version, I got the actual Saga version. You know, weakest statue here, I don't know, between Vegeta and Cell, because everything here is like Grail City. This video game wall, I would say Neo, hence it's, you know, down there in the worst possible location. And the only reason I would say that is he's overscaled. His head is substantially bigger than all the other video game characters. That's quite annoying. I also wish I had the deluxe version with the fairy. I think it's substantially better, and I regret not getting that one. I wish I would have got that one. Granted, I couldn't fit it there because it's a lot bigger base, but I do wish I had that one. If I did have that one, I'd probably only be able to do that and Bloodborne and have to move Ghost of Tsushima. And other weak ones, maybe Ciri. Her face could be better. The sword doesn't fit super good. But otherwise, those are killer pieces. Absolute killer. No, I mean, if I did this video like 4 years ago, I could have named off so many. But I really have sold off pretty much the majority of pieces that really don't bring me joy. For the most part, I would say everything in my collection brings me joy. Hence, I'm in the final stages of it's, reaching perfection. And even all the pieces I mentioned, like, I still like them quite a bit. But if I'm having to pick, some of the worst pieces in my collection, I would pick those, I suppose. It's just when you have grail after grail and just absolute killer pieces, it's hard to pick the bad ones. But in general, for me, the bad statues are ones that are under or overscaled and don't fit everything else. And obviously, bad sculpt, bad likeness, bad paint job, stupid concept, garbage base, all the above, really. But when you get pieces like that, Prime 1 Alien Warrior, that thing is beyond cool. Like, in so many freaking ways. Queen Alien Bust, absolute grail. Prime 1 Alien. Every one of these horror top-level pieces are absolute killer. Queen Arnold, goodness. They're so freaking good. Anyways, folks, I actually have been thinking... I talked about a little bit in the video yesterday regarding, like I've moved Shazam over here. I want to keep DC here. No DC here. I was thinking, though, I do need to sell that link on Opponent, so someone messaged me about it. 1,300 shipped US, which is a good deal, by the way. I was thinking of doing Hobbit over here. So here's the thing. I got orcs over there, and considering the theme, we got Lord of the Rings there, like kind of, because I'm getting Bolg. And here's the thing, I got those 2 orcs there, but I can't fit them anywhere else outside of that location. So we either have to do, because I don't want to sell those orcs, and eventually that's going to be Morgulord, Nazgul, Gandalf, and Frodo. I want to keep those orcs. They're either going to have to go there with Bolg and Azog, or in the hallway. Thing is, I really do want to make this Monsterverse having, Kong Bust and Mecha. So that's why I'm thinking we do Hobbit over there. We move those 2 orcs and Bolg right here. I don't know if I'll be able to fit the 2 orcs and Azog, though. Azog's definitely important. You got to have Azog with Bolg. So I got to get Azog, Bolg, and at least I'll just say 1 orc. And then I suppose I could probably fit 1 orc in here. Maybe behind the Nazgul, I could fit like 1 orc. I'd say that's, pretty important. But at a minimum, 3 1/4. I can't do 1/3 there. It has to be smaller pieces, 1/4 only. Anyways, folks, that is it for today's video. Bolg hopefully is arriving, although it's not in my city, so I don't think it will be. I think it's going to be next week. Still no update on Clicker Bust. Not sure when it's arriving, but it should be arriving very, very soon. I kind of feel like it's just going to pop up one day. All of a sudden, USPS is knocking on my door saying, it's time for this package. I'm like, oh, snap. And I almost feel like I want to do a live unboxing for that one. Anyways, folks, that is it for today's video. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, and also advise what you think is the worst statue in my collection. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.